Hey Off-White Coat listeners, it is my privilege to get to tell you about this sweet deal from our friends over at Picmonic. If you haven't heard about Picmonic, it is a fantastic picture-based mnemonic platform that can certainly help out any student. Most of the videos are around 2 minutes long and provide a quick and effective way to memorize material for any upcoming medical exam. It is extremely efficient. They have this search bar function where you can search playlists on general topics like renal to step 1 to step 2, or even first aid and other books. If you want to review the Picmonic for later, you can even make a playlist of your own. Picmonic even has this repetition algorithm that is spaced out according to your learning needs. This helps with increasing long-term retention and allows you to review the right information at the right time. One of my favorite functions is the quizzes that are associated with each Picmonic. I'll take the quiz first and then learn about the associated pictures and what facts I need to sharpen up on. Honestly, Picmonic is a fantastic tool, and if you use our code OFFWHITECOAT, you'll get 20% off. That's Off-White Coat with no spaces. So what are you waiting for? Make studying the easiest part of your day. Sign up with Picmonic and use Off-White Coat to save yourself some money. All right. Hello, Pod Fam. This is Jordan. This is the Off-White Coat Podcast. I'm giving you another little step special. Really just in the middle of grinding for step. I hit, a dull week. That is for sure. It was weird. I could not find motivation. It wasn't even that I couldn't find motivation. It was the fact that I just started, honestly, almost disliking medicine. I was doing so many questions that I was like, it wasn't that I disliked medicine. I was just so bored with it. Bored to keep reading and reading and reading. But when that happens, because then you find your inner truth right after that, or you find your motivation. But when you're doing it, you're like, oh my God, not another I question. But yes, so I will recommend those. So I got in this weird funk. If you're in the same kind of funk, I recommend finding something that gets you motivated and back on that rhythm. I have this 10X planner by Grant Cardone. I don't know, it's something my family, they started doing, and I realized that it was a really good way of writing down like daily steps and everything. And so I highly recommend that just because you have to write down everything by the hour. And it's very beneficial when I'm writing out like my study schedule and like when I'm going to stop studying. Because sometimes you just got to pull back and you got to be like, I can't do any more of this today. I got to move on to the next thing and prepare for the right thing. So I recommend something that's going to get you on track. Whether that is, one is the 10X Cardone by Grant Cardone. And another thing that helped me is a good playlist. I don't know what everybody studies to or whatever, but I usually have like classical music and everything, but every now and then I want to step it up. And it's like lo-fi or whatever. It's just little hip-hop beats. And if you've ever watched an anime or played a video game, I guarantee you they have one in that soundtrack or whatever. I definitely recommend that. There's about hours and hours of study material on YouTube. I got sucked into a playlist today, and hell, I listened to it for like 3 or 4 hours. Definitely recommend those. And not trying to be I'm in the most respectful way possible. That must be why Japanese people are so smart. They can just sit there and study forever because they got the best music. I'm telling you, those lo-fi things are actually, they're really, really good. They blow me away every time. I put on some like anime that I've like haven't watched in 10 years and I was like hitting the beats. I was like, yeah. Yes, those lo-fi, I think that's how you pronounce them. Those lo-fi playlists have been amazing. Very, very, very smooth and good to listen to. It's not like a heavy music. I don't know why I'm ranting all on these, but I'm telling you, if anybody has a good study playlist, please add us on Instagram at Off-White Coat Podcast or email us at offwhitecoatpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to know what it is. I am going to make a study playlist, and hopefully I can either release it on YouTube or Spotify or something. I'll let you know. But if enough people send something in and we can develop like a good one, I can release it to I can tell everybody how to get it, and we can kind of combine all of our resources together. So if anybody's got some good study music they want to listen to or share with everybody else, please send it in. I will make sure to add it, and we can kind of get this thing rolling. I appreciate everything that the Pod Fam is doing, and yeah, let's keep it rolling. But yeah, so it's really just been grind time. Yeah. And so me and Mary Bess are just making it. She's been very helpful. She's been cooking meals and everything, so that's been helpful. Really find someone to lean on so that way you can get your studying done, and then the rest of your life, you know, can kind of be, or at least get some help in that regard. Yeah, and stay frosty, my friends. You've got this. You can just keep pushing, and find some way to motivate yourself. If you are in this step grind, especially if you're in step 2, it's going to be one of the last grinds you do. That's the one thing that's been motivating me. Before, you know, you actually are working and everything, this is going to be, especially the last real study grind of your life. So embrace it, take control of it, and make the most of it. Okay. Also, everyone, I have found, so I was struggling terribly with ophthalmology, and I thought I knew it a decent amount, but then just doing the questions and everything, sometimes I do really well, and then today I started doing the questions, and it was like I had never seen them before. They were throwing words out that I was just kind of familiar with. It was a struggle, and it was very frustrating. But I'm going to tell you one thing. If you go to YouTube and you go to, I think it was called Ultra High Yield Ophthalmology Review for Students, USMLE STEP, whatever. I think I just typed in ophthalmology STEP review, and it's about an hour long, and I'm going to tell you, it is the best. Whoever put this out, Osama Ahmed, it was fantastic. It was pictures of the eye with great descriptions. He's obviously like an ophthalmology student or something like that, but it was such a great video, and it really covered like all the factors that would be, because I did a terrible block of Kaplan, watched that video, then I did USMLE I did the UWorld, and I did all the questions on the opto section for that, and I did 50%, or I guess it was 100, because either way, I did so much better, and it was really thanks to the video, and I mean, you can watch it at a little bit faster speed, but with the images, and he hits all the high yield points. Very useful. If you're struggling, I know that ophthalmology is not a big part of step 2, but it could be very useful just right before the test if you want to get a little used to some of those terms or something in case they throw a random one at you. I haven't seen very many questions on the step banks or like the practice exams that had a lot of ophthalmology, but it was very, very helpful and very easy to digest. So go check that out if you're struggling at all with ophthalmology. I know it was beneficial to me. Yes. So, Mary Bess, I have to tell you this story. So this is like ridiculous. My brother, he watches like Your Mom's House with Tom Segura, and he recently bought one of the live streams, and he was just like, Jordan, you've got to watch this. Like, he was just, and I'm telling you, Mary Bess, you haven't seen it, but it is like the worst stuff you can find on the internet. I don't know if anybody, I don't know, like when little boys get their first hands on the internet, sometimes they'll look you'll be expressed. It's essentially like BME Pain Olympics, meets car wrecks and bike wrecks or things like that, and it's just the worst videos that you can possibly find online. Well, so he talks and he's telling me, you know, I've got to watch it. So I sit down and I watch it. Okay. First off, awesome show. I cannot believe there's a show like that out there. I was blown away and kind of disgusted, but it was hilarious and I enjoyed it. It was kind of disgusting though. But
YouTube?
No, well, so they have a podcast, but they have on YouTube or whatever. But the where it's just him and his wife. But they put on these live shows, and they've only had like 7. And it's like, that's when they do the podcast there, but they do like a special one, and because you pay and you go behind this paywall, they can show you whatever. And I think in like the past, like he had said something about like, I don't know. It's the strangest videos. Like it literally is like, there's like a guy with an amputee, like sticking his nub in a girl's butt while she was sucking some other guy off. The internet's videos. I'm telling you, what the hell? Yeah. So I was like blown away. I was just like, I mean, but it was just them, him, his wife, and Joe Rogan, and they were like joking around and laughing at like it's just and people are sending them in videos. That has nothing to do with it. Okay, I had to explain it to you because your mind is blown that I would even watch something like that.
Yeah.
My brother is a degenerate. He's got a terrible sense of humor, but I love it. Oh my God. And he's like Tom Segura in his sense of humor. So it's perfect. It's a spirit animal. So I go to sit down and watch this, and I had watched like an hour and a half to 2 hours of it the night before. And I was like kind of looking at stuff, and I would flip back when there was a video. And then I was like, I had seen too much. I was just like, I need to just cut it off for the night. I'm not doing it. I cannot study past this point. I've just got to go home. I've got to go to sleep. I come back the next day, and I'm in the study hall, and I study, and I was like, all right, well, and my brother, he keeps texting me. He's like, you going to finish it? Are you going to finish it? And I'm like, I'm going to wait till nobody's in this study hall. I'm going to outlast everybody. So it gets to be like 11 o'clock, right? So I just am like, okay, I'm going to put it on in the background. I click it, and it starts. So and there's not a good way of judging where you're at. I don't even know where I'm at. So I move like where I would think I was at in the video. Like, you know, where you click on where you're going to speed it up?
Yeah.
I click, and as I click, the door opens, and the lady that works for the apartment complex walks in to tell me that she's going to like lock the door, and I can come and I can leave. When I leave, the door will be locked. So she walks in, and as I click that button, 2 testicles and a guy's like penis in one of those little trap things and they're bright red, and it's like just pops on the screen. And I'm sitting there, and as I click it, she opens the door. Because because I'm looking at the screen, trying to see where I'm going to be at. As I click it, she comes in the door. I'm like, the fastest I can move my hand to hit that exit button, right? And I've got my like computer on like it was on one of those little stands. So it's not like my hands are even on it. Like it's like I'm like swiping up. I exit out of all my screens. So obviously she's like, what the hell is this guy watching? And I don't know if she could see the door is a glass door. So she could easily, as she's walking in, see the testicle that I was flipping to. And I quickly click off. She's just like, oh yeah, I'm locking up. And then she leaves. And then as she leaves, I just like look back at my computer. I regret all the decisions I've made in the past 5 minutes. My heart is just beating at a mile a minute because I'm like, I don't even know. I was getting caught doing something. I was definitely in a public area, so I should not have been. The testicles would not have been. I guess the good thing is, if I was studying medicine, maybe she didn't even think one thing of it. She's like, oh, he just normally looks at this stuff. Because some of the questions could look like that. But I was just like, oh my God. The worst timing. Because I was like, oh, nobody's going to bother me. It's 11. Nobody's going to come in here. The second. And I didn't even know where I was at. Thank God it wasn't in some of the other places because I wouldn't have been able to excuse that for medicine. Some of those videos, I would have gotten kicked out of the study hall for watching. Oh my God. I just started busting out laughing after that. I was like, I could not believe that happened. I was like, that lady, she probably is like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid?
Yeah.
And I mean, in all fairness, she deserves to be able to think that because it was not the spot to be put. It was like a guy that had like viced his nuts, and I don't know. Can I tell? I don't know. And he was sticking needles in his nut, and then it was like, I don't know. I don't know.
I guess
just watch it. It was yes, it was. It's interesting.
Comedy.
It's yeah. No, I promise. It is funny. There are some of the videos are very disgusting. Not for the weak-hearted. Now, some of the ones where there was a lot of medical things you could see on those that the average person would not get to see. It's not. They won't let that on Instagram. But it was hilarious. I just wanted to tell that story because oh my God, that lady. Can you imagine? If you just walked in and that's what I'm looking at.
I mean,
it's like, I'm sorry.
It would be embarrassing enough if I walked in on you and you were watching that.
Yeah, I just.
So, let alone like a stranger doing that to you, she's probably like,
She's like, we really need to lock this door earlier.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this kid's in here. And he's watching this, too.
Yeah. This is a study hall.
Yeah. Whoopsie. I clicked off and I was like, I need to study for 30 more minutes. I'm not starting this back up. Because I just was like,
So did you not finish it?
No, I finished it.
Was it good?
Because at one point I was like, I hadn't even seen that part. I was like, I didn't even know what I was looking at. I literally had no idea what I was looking at till that part came back up. Because I was like, I just knew it was a part that did not, like, no video needed to be shown when this lady was in the room.
Oh my God.
Did I finish it though? Yes. It was good. It was good.
Was it funny?
It was definitely funny at some point.
gross?
It's a test to your. I feel better after watching it. Almost like I've been desensitized a little bit. Like there's some goodness that comes from it. And also like it definitely was funny, but it's almost like riding a roller coaster, right? Where your stomach's all messed up and you're like, oh my God, I hate this. And then after the ride, you're like, ooh, I mean, that was like kind of a thrill. I can't get that anywhere that I normally do.
Let's get back in line.
Let's get back in line. Honestly, I was kind of like, might watch the next one.
Because there's 7? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can even watch the older ones. That might be something to... they do them like live, and then I don't know. I never looked into it. This was literally the first one, and it was only because my brother was heavily... Like, after I told him I'd watch it, it was just a text like every 4 to 5 hours, like, have you finished it? Like, all right, well, tighten it up. Come on. He watched it with his wife, which I'm just blown away with. I mean, that's impressive. Kelsey's got a stomach of steel, huh?
I said for him or her?
I mean, I guess
that's impressive.
It's an impressive relationship goal.
That's a test for sure.
I mean, yeah, it might mean the relationship should be over. I'm just kidding. You're like, Jesus, what are we doing with each other? You're like, at one point in the...
It's come to this. Like, they're married 2 years, and it's like,
Oh, no. It's fun. Like, I could definitely see... It's funny. It's definitely, like, there's a reason they're doing it, and these comedians are doing it. It's not... The sound of a gross video to you is not appeasing.
Right.
Like, to me, I'm like, oh...
Yeah, you're right. But between you and Grant talking, like, all you guys have talked about was the gross stuff. So
yes.
It sounds like not my cup of tea at all.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's always the thing that yeah. I mean, did you ever see... I can't believe I'm about to...
I know what you're about to say, because you've said it 10 times. 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I purposely... have not watched that because I've just heard it's like...
Have you...
No, I haven't done any of that stuff.
You never taken a step down the dark web?
No. Why?
Mary Bess is, I'm telling you, heart of gold. Like, she's untaintable. It's a sad thing that she started dating me. No, I'm just kidding.
My dad said that the other day.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably like, Jesus, like, this kid... Why did she have to choose him? I'm like, Mary Bess, let me show you something. And he's like, why would you do that?
I tried to get him to go.
Scott's a big fan of 2 Girls, 1 Cup, though. He told
Stop that. That's too far. But okay, my innocence and my rule following comes from my dad, right? And like when he came to visit me, we were going in the subway and I paid and I was like, I went through the handicap part where it just opens. I was like, come on, Dad. He's like, Mary Bess, you know I don't like to do that.
He was like, I don't
like, Dad, come on. And I got him to go through, but from after that, I had to pay, and then he had to pay. Like, I'm surprised he jaywalked up here.
I know. That's something that my family does that, too. It's because they're from the South, and they don't use public transportation on a regular basis. Because I was paying at the very beginning, because I was like, okay, like, at least I'll pay. And I was getting, like, the unlimited. And after about 6 months, you got to take it where you can get it. Yeah. And, yeah, but when you're from, it's got to be, because my parents, there was a bum. And he opens the door and he's like, come on through. He's having a conversation with the door open because he had opened it for them and they didn't realize it. And they walk past, they like talk to him. They walk past, they go and start getting the Metro card to pay. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I've got this door held open for you. And they're like, oh, like, it's okay. And he's like, what are you doing?
Don't they end up giving him money too?
Yes, yeah. So they gave him the money. They gave him like some of the money that they would have paid for because they had money out to put on their card, and they were just like, oh, okay, like, well, I mean, I guess if he's holding the door, we'll give him the money. I'm like, he's like, oh wow, shit, thanks.
Yeah.
He was like, you are the first people to do this.
Yeah. What kind of person do you think like that is? Like naive, too nice?
I mean,
Southern.
I think some of it is the fact that they are from like the South, and you're just not used to the public transportation system. If you and also I think they have more money than both of like there's a point where you're like, oh, I can pay the $2 to get on the subway. It's not that big of a deal, but we're like, oh, it's so easy to get through. Like the funny thing is, I have yet to see like a 13-year-old kid pay for a subway. Like I'm honestly like walking behind the 13-year-olds because I know if there's a group of them that door is swinging open and there's about to be a mad rush, and you're seeing a whole school class and then me walk in. I'm just pretending to be in their grade.
Okay.
But no, and I guess it's always those people are like kids that have grown up here, so they're like, oh, I could care less anyway. I think some of it has to do with the South, like just because you're not used to that kind of public transportation system.
Yeah.
And then I guess the older you are, you're like more inclined to do that, not be as rebellious.
Yeah.
I guess they haven't seen too that like it's half-ass policed. Like at first you don't realize that nobody's watching the cameras until you see somebody kick the door open and there's like 4 cops and they just watch people walk through and they don't do anything. And you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I don't know. There's something. It's got to be that. We'll have to test the theory. I mean, my friend Moham came and visited, and he had no problem jumping over the subway thing. If anything, I was like, well, okay. I was like going to pay for him, and he just was like, oh, you pay here? He's like, I've been to New York before, and he like hopped over. I was like, oh, okay. That's how you do.
Jordan started jumping ever since he came to visit.
Not every time.
A lot of
No.
times.
Okay. This is my theory, first off. I am not jumping every time. I pay my dues, but there's been enough times that I have been to the subway, and this happened like 3 weeks ago, where we paid for a ticket, we walked through the whole subway, realized either the train wasn't going to come to that spot, or we couldn't even find the subway station. We were just like, are we on the wrong side of the street? So we had to pay. We just paid to leave, cross the street, and then pay again. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm jumping. Like, the next one, I'm getting my money's back. Like, you got me here. I don't know. That was weird. That was a weird one. But, yeah. So I'm making it even. But, yeah. So that was just the one story with Grant or whatever. So I'll have to let you know the next time. Mary Beth's going to watch your mom's house with me next time. I'm really going to break her in.
No, thanks.
But, yeah. So that was all I had to tell you. So thank you, everyone, for listening. We're going to wrap this up. It's been a real pleasure. I enjoyed it. See you next time.
Goodbye.
Peace. Hey, everyone. I want to take this time to tell you about our friends over at TrueLearn. They have this top-of-the-line test bank that is perfect for any upcoming board exams that you may have. They have test banks for all types of exams. So whether you're studying for medical school, nursing school, OT, pharmacy, and others like speech pathology, TrueLearn is the way to go. If you're like me and going through medical school, they have question banks for all the big exams, like Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3, with quality assessments for each exam. Look, I know we didn't go into healthcare because we love taking tests. This is the hard part of the job. Make it easy on yourself with TrueLearn. Sign up now with the code OFFWHITECOAT to get $25 off your purchase. That's OFF white coat, no spaces, to get $25 off your purchase. This is a test bank that you do not want to pass up on. Make this easy on yourself. Take the deal, pass your boards, and get back to enjoying the reason you went into healthcare. And make sure to use off-white coat when you pick it up.